This is lesson 3.3, still in variables and patterns, the last lesson of variables and patterns. We're going to look at an idea of paying bills. So once again, we're going to show a pattern many ways. We're going to make a table, graph, equation, and rule for many different patterns. So let's take a look. Okay, we're going to look at the idea of running a pizza parlor, a pizza shop. Kyle is planning on running a pizza parlor. For his place to be successful, he has to make a profit. A profit means that you earn more money than you spend. If you don't have a profit, you don't have a business. So we're going to complete the table below to show his profit for up to 6 pizzas. So we have a pizza parlor budget. We have a number of pizzas, 0 through 6, like the question says. We have revenue, which is how much money you're getting in. Dough cost and toppings cost is how much you're spending. And then profit is what's left. So if you're selling 0 pizzas, everything is 0. 1 pizza means you're selling it for $15. It costs you $6 to buy the dough. $4 to buy the toppings means you have $5 left. Revenue, we can see, is counting by 15, so let's continue that. 45, 65, 75, 90. Dough cost, we can see, is counting by 6s, so if we continue that, we have 18, 24, 30, and 36. The toppings is counting by 4, so if we continue that, we have 12, 16, 20, 24. And then the profit, we can see, is counting by 5s, so we have 15, 20, 25, and 30. Pretty easy to fill in the table as long as you know what you're counting by. Now, let's write our equations and rules for each column. So we have revenue, dough cost, toppings cost, and profit. Each one of these is going to have a different dependent variable. Revenue, we're calculating revenue, so we're going to use R. Dough cost, I'll use D. Toppings, I'll use C. And profit, I'll use P. None of these had a starting number. All those should be zeros. Revenue counts by 15 every time we sell a pizza. Dough cost counts by 6 every time we sell a pizza. Toppings counts by 4 every time we sell a pizza. And profit counts by 5s every time we sell a pizza. Now, we are going to write the rule, which, remember, means writing out the equation using words. So, for revenue, we have revenue equals, I don't have to include the 0 plus, that's just extra, so equals $15 per pizza. Dough cost, so dough cost equals $6 per pizza. Toppings cost equals $4 per pizza. And lastly, the profit equals $5 per pizza. Pretty simple once you get into the groove of it. Now, we're going to use these equations to fill in this table. So the pizza parlor budget, we're continuing the table down to 20 pizzas and 36 pizzas. Now, we could spend a long time continuing this all the way down to 36, but I don't want to. What we need to recognize is what we are counting by and how to use our equation. So for revenue, all it is 15 times pizzas. So 15 times 20 is 300. And 15 times 36, I can't do that off the top of my head. So let's do 15 times 36. We have 0, 4, 540. The dough cost, remember, that's 6 per pizza. So 6 times 20 is 120. 6 times 36, I don't know. 36 times 6 3 times 6 is 18, plus 3 is 21. 216. Toppings is 4 times 20, which is 80. 4 times 36, I don't know what that is. 4 times 6 is 24, carry the 2. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14, 144. And our profit is 5 times pizzas, so 5 times 20 is 100. Then 5 times 36, once again, I don't know what that is. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3 is 18. 180. So once again, we're using the equations to find numbers that otherwise would take us a long time to find. Moving on. For questions 1 through 3, we're going to write an equation that goes for each table. Now, we're kind of going backwards. We've already filled tables using equations. Now we're going to write equations using tables. So, for number 1, we see that x and y are variables, so we have y equals. We need to know what our starting number is. I don't see a 0 next to the x. If we were to put 0 here, we need to figure out what number would be down here. Well, this is counting by 4s, and so if we go backwards 4, we get a 0. We got lucky. Our starting number is 0. Our counting number, as we just said, is 4. So plus 4, and then here's why we don't do times x with an x. X means nothing. Times x. Y equals 0 plus 4 times x is our equation. Number 2. Y equals, this time it's s and t. So s equals. T equals. Sorry for all the mistakes. T is the dependent variable. That's what we're solving for. It's on the bottom. We solve for it. T equals. Now, starting number, like we did up here, we go to 0. Now, this means you add 1. Need to add 1 again. This would be 50. So our starting number is 50. Now, as we look, going that way, it's going down. Minus 1 times s. It's counting down 1 every time. Number 3. We have z equals, find the starting number. It's going by 5s, and so if we go backwards 5, we have 1. We know it's going by 5s times n. Got to figure out what your starting number is, figure out what your counting number. Once you have those, you can write an equation. Last problem. Which equation describes the relationship in this table? Now, once again, I said find your counting number, find your starting number. So starting number is 10. Counting, well, what are we counting by? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. We're counting by 10. So our equation is going to have a 10 and a 10 in it, which means that's out, that's out, that's out. That's the only one left. C equals 10 to start with plus 10 counting times n. Let's go back over the worksheet. We're going to make a table, graph, equation, and rule for paying bills. Well, we didn't do the graph, but that's okay. We filled in our table on revenue, dough cost, toppings cost, and profit. We wrote our equation and rules for each column, used the equations to fill in a further table, wrote some equations given tables, and then answered a multiple choice question, write an equation given in a table. This is the end of lesson 3.3. This is also the end of variables and patterns. If you need to, feel free to go back through lessons 1.1 all the way to lesson 3.3 to further understand it and make sure you are prepared to be assessed on it.